We all know ride-on battery electric lawnmowers aren't very powerful, they can't handle tough grass, and the runtime is laughably short. But what if none of that was actually true? I've been mowing this summer with the newest electric rider from Kobalt, and I was skeptical at first because I've heard all the complaints I just mentioned. I'm also coming from a John Deere X500 series tractor that was fairly high-end, back in 2009. I'm going to be comparing the latest offering in the electric mower space and seeing if a top-end gas mower from 15 years ago can still hold its own against futuristic tech. I gotta be honest with you, there are some things that I really liked about the Cobalt, and there's some things that I really didn't like, and I'm gonna tell you about those too and what to watch out for. At the end, I'll give you my opinion on who should look into one of these and if it's worth it, and we're starting right now. Kobalt is the in-store brand of Lowe's, and it's exclusively where Kobalt tools are sold. This is obviously a tractor-style mower, and it has a built-in LFP battery that claims a 1.5-acre runtime and a 5-year warranty. That's actually pretty good. If you're new to battery tech, LFP or lithium iron phosphate is basically a robust battery chemistry that is super durable and less susceptible to degradation over time. You know how your phone battery starts off amazing when you first get the phone and then over time it just sort of gradually goes to crap? Yeah, an LFP battery shouldn't do that as much. The John Deere is powered by a Kawasaki engine, arguably one of the best small engine builders in existence, and it's liquid cooled too for additional longevity. I've got over 500 hours on this thing and it works about the same as it did when it was new, aside from a slightly smokier startup. The Kobalt has a 42-inch deck, which is fairly standard width for an entry-level tractor, while the John Deere is a tad bigger at 54 inches. A digital dash welcomes you to the future upon startup, and there's a few functions to run through real quick. For starters, there's a gear selector, and that's kind of weird. Reverse, neutral, and drive are all options, and you just move the lever to make your selection. Reverse beeps loudly, which I'm not a big fan of, but otherwise, fairly simple to use. It's a lot like a car, so very intuitive. The John Deere uses a hydrostatic transmission, so you're in all the gears all the time. One pedal goes forward, reverse is the pedal next to it, no gear selecting at all. The Cobalt has two speed settings, a high and a low. Low's good for mowing because you can just floor it and not worry about going too fast. High's good for getting around the yard quickly, and if you have a flat space that is fairly open, you could easily mow at that speed too. There's also a blade speed selection, high and low there too. If I'm cutting tall grass, I definitely want the higher speed for better performance, but if I'm just doing a weekly maintenance trim, then the lower speed is fine and it uses less battery. It's nice to have options, and I've never seen a blade speed setting on a gas mower. Kobalt advertises a 1.5-acre runtime or an hour and 20 minutes, and I will say it seems accurate with a few caveats though. To get the ideal range, I'll call it, you have to have ideal cutting condition. I'll say a fairly flat yard, blade setting on the slower, less intense speed, and doing a weekly maintenance cut, not cutting down a hayfield, which you're gonna see me do in a second. So yeah, 1.5 might be achievable, and yes, I've done it, but I think 1 acre or an hour of runtime is maybe a bit more realistic. I bring that up because I think that's the key to electric riders right now. You want to get something that can mow your entire lawn in one shot, no recharge. Charge time, because I know people will be curious, is about 4 hours to go from 0 to 100%. But a lawnmower is the perfect thing to go electric because most people really only mow once a week. I don't really care if it takes 4 hours or 4 days to charge. As long as I can mow my whole yard in one shot and it's ready to go once a week, every Saturday morning or whatever it is, then I'm happy. Under the hood of the John Deere, you've probably got a pretty good guess at what's going on. That's where the horsepowers live, and the Kawasaki engine with the cutest little radiator you've ever seen is nestled in just perfectly. But that begs the question, what's under the hood of the Cobalt? When vehicles get electrified, they usually pick up some storage under the hood, and the Cobalt is no different. You get a nice deep storage box, or at least that's what they want you to think it is. I took a closer look, and I think what it actually is a cooler. Okay, hear me out on this. It even has drain holes. I didn't drill those, it comes that way. That's a cooler for sure. I mean, yeah, the John Deere has a cup holder, but so does every mower for the last 25 years. That's standard equipment. But a cooler? Now we're talking. I prefer to do my work highly caffeinated, and the front-mounted cooler can hold lots of rocket fuel to keep me going all weekend long. We gotta talk cutting performance. I mean, it is a lawnmower review after all. And honestly, I thought it did great. I really don't have any complaints here. I think the cut gets better on the higher speed, but for general weekly maintenance cuts, the slower speed does just fine and provides more runtime. Obviously, I was curious about the upper limits of the mower, and I've driven through some pretty gnarly stuff on my John Deere over the years, so I had to go find the tall grass in the backyard and really see what it could do. With blade speed cranked up and the deck in the highest position, I set out to find the tallest grass and the most weed-infested areas with some of the thickest thistles you've ever seen. How did it go? Surprisingly well. It basically handled everything I threw at it, and yes, it took multiple passes to really mulch things up, but it did a really nice job. Normally, you're not cutting through 12-inch tall grass, but the mower has pretty good capability to do exactly that. I'm happy to report that I did indeed find the upper limit, and it required super long grass that was wet, and all that happened was that the deck got clogged with clippings, the motors got overloaded, and they shut off. Built-in safety shut off. Well played, Kobalt. Well played. A quick push of the button and I was back up and running. No big deal. Okay, you've seen what this mower is all about. You get the features and the functions. We gotta talk about pros and cons. Now, Kobalt did give me a mower to demo, but they didn't pay me or tell me what to say. And that's on them. What's awesome? What sucks? Here we go. The biggest pro with electric, hands down, no question, is how much quieter it is than a gas mower. Now, I'm a bit of a car guy, and when I bought an electric car, my buddies were all like, oh, don't you miss the sound of the gas engine, the exhaust note? And sure, there's an argument to be made there. I get it. But nobody, and I mean nobody, looks forward to the sound of a gas lawnmower. Do they? Oh, listen to the rumble of that John Deere. That's not really a thing. The Kobalt does make some noise when it's cutting grass, but just driving around is totally silent. And it's awesome. Zipping around the yard is a much quieter experience, and I do a lot of trailer work and pulling a broadcast spreader too. I've been able to do stuff around my yard way earlier than I would ever start up and run a gas mower. I can also leave it on and hop off to do things like fill the trailer with sticks and then just hop back on and take off. No starting and stopping an engine, no loud idling, it just silently sitting there ready to go at all times, just like a battery electric chainsaw or string trimmer. A few other things that I liked include a really tight turning radius, the ability to keep the blade on in reverse, and the cooler storage area up front is really nice to have. Now, what didn't I like? I gotta start being a little bit nitpicky here, but sometimes the minor stuff can make a big usability difference, so it's worth mentioning. To engage the blade, there's a bit of a delay, and I wish they started up just a little bit faster. You really have to press and hold the button for a good few seconds, and then it starts spinning. This is a built-in safety feature, I get it, but I find it annoying too. The same can be said for the gear shift. Sometimes it takes a little while to actually change gears, like when starting up and shifting into reverse or drive. Power seems to be pretty good, but going up steep hills can get it slipping fairly easily. My John Deere has a diff lock pedal to help with traction and getting up steep hills, but the Kobalt doesn't really have that. I tried to back a lawn sweeper up onto a trailer one time, and it really didn't take much to overload and stall the Kobalt. So I wish it was just a little bit more torquey. The biggest dislike is with the battery because it's a built-in battery design. Some of the competition, like Ego and Greenworks, are using their standard electric tool batteries to power their mowers. They just use a lot of them. And that makes a lot of sense because you're investing in a tool brand and system. And if you have a lot of that company's compatible tools, then buying a Rider is sweet because you get a bunch of batteries that you can use in any of your other tools. Kobalt went the built-in route, meaning it doesn't have a removable battery to hot swap out into other Kobalt tools. On one hand, it might make the mower more accessible to more people because it doesn't really matter if you have other Kobalt tools or not. On the other hand, it doesn't really incentivize Kobalt's existing user base to stick with the brand if they're getting into a battery electric ride-on. Overall, I'm loving this tractor much more than I thought I would, and the biggest surprise is how often I'm grabbing the keys for it instead of the John Deere. Because it's so quiet and so easy to use, I'm using it a lot more often as a utility vehicle. Pulling the broadcast spreader at 7 in the morning, that's the Kobalt. Ripping the garden cart around, That's gonna be the Kobalt again. Getting the mail or giving the boy a ride around the property. Once again, that's the Kobalt. The electric Kobalt really surprised me, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you'd consider an electric ride-on mower and why. I've done a lot of battery electric tool testing. You can check out more content here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.